have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Approved claims in the amount of $575,144.17.
Well, just because it's not that big, you're not going to explain why? That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of our standard bills and then the payroll.
All right, move
To
to.
the specific.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of a forestry mulcher from Tri-State Bobcat in the amount of $25,150.
Good evening, Finance. Michael Miraz, Director of Public Works. So what you have in front of you tonight is the purchase of a piece of equipment that will expedite our removing schedules and save the city a lot of money. So it is a forestry mulcher, which is an attachment that goes on front of our skid steer. And what we're finding as we're going into these stormwater ponds is there's a lot of underbrush, undergrowth that we've typically had to go in there and clear by hand. You know, it's anything from a 1-inch sapling to a 4-inch, you know, it just has to be removed by hand. This piece of equipment, we can go in there and we can actually like mulch the trees down into like wood chips and mulch and then take that out with machinery. We had this done on Pond 141, which is by the post office. We hired a company a couple of years ago, and we paid them about $15,000 to do that one pond. Well, we have about 80 ponds to do, so if you do the math, you can quickly find out that this would save the city a lot of money and time in the long run. So we would pay for this piece of equipment out of the stormwater utility, and then we could also use it for park maintenance as well, buckthorn removal, that type of thing as well. So in my opinion, a very, very good investment, wise investment for the city.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Hi, Bill.
Hello.
So hi, Bill.
Discussion and possible action to approve a quote from Countryside Plumbing and Heating, Inc. in the amount of $8,664 to replace the AC furnace unit at 1520 2nd Street.
Yeah, so just brief description, the heating and cooling unit at the east shop, the heat exchanger died, for lack of a better term, and the part to replace it is obsolete. So had the Countryside come out and take a look at it. They said, yep, it's toast, you can't do it. So the only way of doing it is to replace the whole unit. Like I said, the price that was quoted from them was for $8,664. I did talk to Aaron about this. He suggested taking this out of undesignated capital.
Is that for labor too?
Yep.
And how much is in undesignated?
We're still around 2 million, a little less now. We've had a few.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 1.5 after some of the bigger things coming
Okay.
up.
There. Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action to approve the Lakefront Park Boat Ramp Lighting change order in the amount of $39,462.93.
Yeah, so as many of you know, reconstruction of the boat ramp has begun, and one of the things that has come up as a topic of discussion before they're ordered is the lighting down there. So when the plans were originally made, we spec'd kind of our standard street light that you see along Carmichael, Crestview Drive, so on and so forth. I included a photo in your packet. It's kind of the aluminum frame, double head. And kind of speaking as staff, you know, there is an opportunity to purchase light poles that we installed on 2nd Street to match them, a little more decorative, so on and so forth. And so I did reach out to the contractor, and they got a number from Neil, which is the $39,000 number. And it's just a matter of if, you know, finance and council wants to make that investment to upgrade those lights. So coverage is the same. It's the same amount of lights, whether it's the standard spec or the decorative. It's just the extra cost of the luminaires, the pole, the bases, so on and so forth. So that's what the change order is for.
How far out are they? I mean, these took an extra, what, 6 months to get?
Yeah.
Are these out? I mean, I know it won't, it's like final punch list item.
Yeah, so to be honest, Randy, the poles themselves are fairly similar as far as how long they're out. The black ones are probably like 3 more weeks out than the standard ones, so you're not really losing a whole bunch of time. It's not like it's another 6 months type, so to speak.
And this is the difference between the original ones and the
Yep,
new ones? Okay.
yep,
And how many, is it just 6?
yep. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the double head luminaires, and then there's a 1 single head.
Okay.
Well, if we start here, does that mean we start all the way down the whole new vision project? So is this a cost we're gonna incur down the road? More?
Yeah, it's something to think about, especially as we start replacing a lot of those older Globe Acorn type units that we have, future projects. I think if you want to have a consistent look throughout the entire downtown district, Mike made sense to do the boat launch now, and then, like you said, just as we pick away projects, you update the surrounding lighting too.
We'd make sure we bid them that way moving forward if we
Yeah.
go forward with these.
Put you on your spot. What do you want? What do you think?
I could go either way. The cost savings is there, but I mean, from a general feel and look of Lakefront Park, the boat launch is going to be it's going to be heavily utilized. It's a gem of the St. Croix River.
So spend the money, is what you're saying.
I would, but I wouldn't be hurt if you don't. I mean, I could go either way. I'm not
Well, you should
not
sit
going to
down
die on
one-
this.
You should sit down on one of these chairs. Yes,
I think the consensus from staff would be it would bring the continuity to the projects down there, and we would bid them this way then moving forward. So we wouldn't, have any change order sort of thing, just they would be
Yeah.
included in the project bids moving forward.
I guess I'll move to approve.
Can this be taken out of TIF money?
That would be our intent. Yep.
Okay, then I'll second.
Do you want to designate it out of that through the motion?
Well, we talked about before, we were going to finalize that funding for the project as we kind of got further along with everything, make sure, see how it went. But that was the intent basically, is that we would use the TID for pretty much the whole project at this point. So,
right.
yep.
And this is within the parking lot
Correct.
down there? Okay.
Yep.
And this throws the same amount of light, just from a lighting aesthetic? I mean, forget about the aesthetics, from just the luminance of it?
Yeah, we did have the lighting engineer just take a quick peek at that, and it does throw the same amount of light. One of the poles has to be moved a foot to the north, I believe. So I mean, it's apples to apples as far as lighting
you.
as far as lighting coverage is concerned.
Gotcha.
Would it be as lit up as they say, like the high school parking lot? Never mind.
I think that was a rhetorical question.
All right, anybody else? Is there a motion?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Discussion possible action regarding LOEs for topographic surveys for potential 2022 BIL projects.
Good evening, Finance Committee. We are awaiting word, hopefully next week or the week after, in regards to the grants we recently applied for 11th Street, 17th Street, Laurel Avenue, Carmichael Road, and East and West Canyon Drives. In order to complete those projects in the expedited time frame that they're going to make us do them in, we need to do topographic surveys, and that would be for designing pedestrian ramps and just getting the project plans put together. So what we're asking for tonight is approval of these LOEs contingent upon if we receive grant funding for said projects. So say we got grant funding for 11th Street, but we didn't get grant funding for 17th Street, we would move forward with 11th Street with the topographic surveys and not with 17th Street, if that makes sense. So the funding for each project we've already identified in the recently approved 2022-26 CIP for infrastructure, and it would not be able to be funded with grant application funding for this work. We did reach out to our two usual consultants, got quotes from both of them, and SCH was by far the cheaper option, so we're suggesting moving forward with SCH.
So viewing your wonderful 2-hour Public Works meeting, you guys were very concerned about what projects were being done. Third Street in particular was the topic of conversation, and somebody had said that if we do something more up there, we have to take away from projects elsewhere that were identified by people on the council. What was that?
So
Is it these and?
no, it would not be these. It would be projects like we have identified for alley repaving and for sidewalk replacement and that kind of stuff that we have identified for 2022.
Okay.
These are all identified for 2023, so different,
Okay.
different years. And we don't want to, endanger our grant funding if we do get it. So
For these?
For these, yep, exactly. I'll just mention too, we already did do the topo survey for Carmichael Road, so that's done. So it'd just be the other 4 projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion
Second.
second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. The discussion possible action on intergovernmental agreement related to library funding.
So with this, you can see I kind of gave the brief summary in the memo. We then have attached the agreement, which is basically a 1.5-page agreement. Really, it's fairly brief. And then Shelley did a very good job of providing a sort of a summary of where we're at with the library funding and what this proposal would allow. Note that some of the dates are off just because Shelley worked on this last year, but we weren't ready to actually bring anything forward until now. So that's why you have some 2022 dates and things in there. But we did update it for the packet. So if you don't have the updated packet, some of the dates were from last year. But with that, basically what we're looking at is transferring the levy for the joint library from the individual partners to the county as a whole to do the levy. The main driver behind that, of course, is that for the partners, the levy for the library counts against each of the partners' levy limits, but on the county level, it does not count against their levy limits. So, so that's the reasoning behind, basically the agreement that gets us to where this funding would be, which, right now, the library gets about $800,000 in funding. Under this formula, they'd be actually getting closer to 1.2 million in funding directly to the library, so a significant increase in the funding. And so, I don't know, with that, I don't know if the mayor has anything more with it or any questions about it. I'm sure we'll have much more discussion at council too.
I think this is the best option that we have, and I would support this moving forward.
And I should note that because this is unique, we ran this through every state agency we could think of that might have some sort of say in this and concern with it. We have in writing, email, the other ways their confirmation that they feel like this is allowable and things like that. I also ran it by our insurer just to make sure, because obviously this agreement does have discussion in there that if something goes sideways, that the partners are responsible for trying to address that. Our insurer, based on all the responses we received from the various state agencies, had no concern with it, and they were okay with us moving forward with it as well, because they would be the one defending us if something did go wrong with it. We do not anticipate though. So, I don't know what more we could have done in trying to go through and get this, kind of signed off on by everyone involved.
I'd like to say also that, we've been working on this for about a year. And as Aaron said, we've engaged as many of the agencies as possible as we felt was necessary. We were also working with State Representative Shannon Zimmerman and State Senator Rob Stafschild. Representative Zimmerman actually put us in contact with, I think they call it their drafter of statutes, the people that actually write the laws as they're being brought before the committees and the respective bodies. The drafter got into an interesting conversation with the county attorney. The county attorney wasn't so sure that this would be allowable, and the drafter said, well, I wrote this, and it is permissible. And so we then went to the Department of Revenue as well and asked for an opinion from them, and Aaron had alluded to that. So we got an affirmative opinion from the Department of Revenue. And then I have talked with all of the heads of the partner municipalities, and they will be following suit as soon as we're done with this evening, presuming this passes, and they will be taking it up in their next meetings. So hopefully, we will have this done in the next month with respect to the partners, and over to the county for their final approval, and they'll bring it to their county board of supervisors. So I would hope that within the next 2 months, we would have this ready to go, and of course, this would take effect, we would include this in our budget for 2023, and hopefully we'll have it ready for them.
So, on this information that is with this, it says who has to endorse the plan for it to pass, and the first one is the Board of Trustees. So the library board has passed this?
The library board, Joyce, I don't recall, there were a couple meetings that I missed this year, but they're well aware of it. I'm pretty sure it was on the agenda, and I'm pretty sure it was passed.
Okay.
The Board of Trustees.
All right, so I was just wondering if, I know that the other boards, it's all, once we pass it, it doesn't matter. Town of Hudson, Town of St. Joe's, Village of North Hudson, they all, any order, but I was just wondering if this was the first, if they had to pass it first before we should be looking at it.
I'm pretty sure they passed it, the board passed it. I know that we've had significant discussion of it at the Board of Trustees.
Yeah, and if nothing else, if it's not this exact agreement, the framework of it, I know has been
okay.
reviewed and kind of signed off on.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Anybody have anything for future agendas? You have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.